Modifiers. The values of characteristics and dice rolls or other values can be the target of modifiers from numerous sources like spells, weapons, and armor. They can be set to a certain value, and they can be subject to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Values set to a fixed number. When a value or a roll is set to a certain value, replace the modified value or the required roll with that value. For example, if an attack is subject to the effect, the attack's armor penetration is set to 10, you replace the attack's armor penetration value with 10. A characteristic may be set to the value of another model's characteristic. In this case, the value of the other model's characteristic is taken after applying any modifiers that the other model is subject to. Modifiers that affect the recipient model will then be applied to this value, following the rules in priority of modifiers below. For example, if a model has the rule, the discipline of all units within 12 inches may be set to the discipline value of the model. All units affected by this modifier may ignore their own discipline and use the model's discipline instead. Multiplication and division. Sometimes values or rolls can be modified by multiplication or division. In case of the latter, round fractions up. For example, if a model attacks an enemy model that is subject to the rule, all attacks made against this model are performed at half strength. The strength of attacks is divided by 2, rounding fractions up. Addition and subtraction. Sometimes values or rolls are modified by addition or subtraction. For example, if a model is subject to the rule, the wearer gains +1 armor and suffers -2 offensive skill, you add 1 to its armor and subtract 2 from its offensive skill. Priority of modifiers. If any value or roll is affected by more than one modifier, these modifiers are applied in a strict order, following Table 1. First apply modifiers listed with priority step 1, then apply modifiers with priority step 2 to the result, and so on. Whenever you see the term set, always, never used in bold in such a modifier, this indicates its priority. When several modifiers within a priority step are to be applied to a value, for example, a characteristic value, apply them in the order that results in the lowest value. When several modifiers within a priority step are to be applied to a dice roll, for example, for Aegis saves, to hit rolls, to wound rolls, apply them in the order that results in the lowest success chance of the roll. After all modifications via multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction, unless specifically stated otherwise. Agility and attack value cannot be modified to lower than 1 unless they were lower than 1 before modifications. The value of all other characteristics modified to lower than 0 is treated as 0, unless it is used for another rule or effect that is subject to further modifiers. For example, a model part's armor penetration modified to -1 is treated as 0, but when it is used for determining the armor penetration of the model part's close combat attacks, the corresponding modifiers will be based on the value of -1. Armor cannot be modified to exceed a maximum of 6. Agility and discipline cannot be modified to exceed a maximum of 10. Priority of modifiers. Priority step 1. Values set to a certain number and values set to another model's value. If the other model's characteristic is modified, apply these modifiers before setting the characteristic. Priority step 2. Multiplication and division. Round fractions up. Priority step 3. Addition and subtraction. Priority step 4. Rolls always or never succeeding or failing on certain results, and characteristics always or never set to a certain value or range of values.